Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Discussion. This week we have a special guest. We've really gone all out and we've really got someone very interesting, and I believe we're going to have a fruitful discussion and we're going to learn something. So, thank you for joining us. And again, we've also got some return guests as well and a new assistant as well who's joined us. So, it's really going to be an interesting discussion with the young men. And without further ado, we'll just go around, we'll introduce everybody. And like we always do, I think most of the guys, you know them. And there's one new face. And at the end, when we get to you, you just tell us your name and something interesting about you. That's all how we always start. And then we'll get to our special guest. He'll introduce himself, and anything he says about him is interesting because he's just that amazing. So let's get right into it. We'll start with you.
Hey, I'm Josh.
Patrice.
Yeah, my name is Adi Mahmoud, and something interesting about me is what I can say is I enjoy building Legos and like solving like mathematical problems. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Interesting. Interesting, okay. All right, and now to our special guest. He's my big brother, he's our elder, he's just a fountain of wisdom and knowledge. So please introduce yourself.
Well, my name is MADZIVA. A father, three, married to one woman. I think that's interesting fact.
Yes, he's been married a long time, yes. No.
27 years this year.
Wow, congratulations. Wow,
Thank
that's
you.
amazing. That is amazing. Thank you so much. And of course, we know Rodney. So we're gonna get right into it. Now, like I said, this week we are just really going to tap into Mr. Madziva's knowledge. He's a senior, he's a man who's got a lot of experience, he's an educated man, he's a family man. So there's just so much we can learn from him as young men. And I really thought it would be good for us to go to someone who's wise and we can really get something out of him. So we're just going to have that discussion. Now, to kick us off, I figured I would start from something that is maybe pertinent to me because I figured my wife asked me to ask this and she's always telling me this. And I figured, let me ask it, get it out of the way. How do you do it? You've been married for 27 years, and my wife is always saying, like, whenever I see them together, they look so happy, they're so in love, and they've been married for so long. How do they do it? I guess maybe she wants me to learn something. I guess that's what she's saying. But yeah, I thought it would kick us off that way.
That's a very interesting question, because marriage really needs constant renewal. Constant renewal requires that we do something for each other because marriage is all about the other.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm trying to do is to please the other.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of the other, and it's got a lot of the we feeling rather than I want to do this, rather than, I want this, I want that. It's what can we do, what would we be happy with.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess, also what is of significance is the foundation. My wife and I, we both love God.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that we have often done is to make sure that we are involved collectively, in church-related activities, and we do spend time, just for each other,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to debrief on whatever is happening during our day, for example, or around us, or things that we're involved in, and so on and so forth, because we do lead busy lives.
Mm-hmm.
And if you allow the business of the day to influence how you interact, then it becomes an issue. Actually, it should be the other way around, that you influence the business of your day by making sure that in all that business there is time for each other.
Wow, wow. That's yeah. I haven't been married nearly as long as you, but I can, I get the feeling you're on the right track, and it's 27 years later. Definitely, you're onto something. I really get that selflessness, thinking about the other. And I think whenever someone in your relationship, whenever you are selfless, I think it makes life that easier to reciprocate and do the same for your partner or spouse. So really, no, I appreciate that. So I don't know if the gentlemen here have any questions they would like to ask. I know we've in previous episodes we've talked about our relationships with our parents, and I remember the young men were talking about how, and I was asking them, what would you want, how would you want to relate to your parents, and they were talking about they would prefer it if our parents weren't so like helicopter parenting. They weren't so much in their faces, and they were saying. So I don't know from your perspective. You're a father of three, as you've told us, and you know your children are all, some of them are now adults and they're in their teens. And how have you found parenting? Like, how has it been?
Yeah, look, I think that's a very pertinent question because most of the parenting that anyone does really is through experience. Because when our eldest was born, that was the first time we had a child. And then we tried to work out, okay, what sort of family do we want her to grow up in? So we said with my wife that, look, let's focus all our activities right on God. So we introduced our eldest daughter to God very early in the piece by getting her dedicated. And as parents, then we made a commitment that even if she went wherever she went, we made sure that she was aware of the fact that she was a child dedicated to God. So as she grew older, we took time to introduce her to a church, of course, to the I can't remember what the classes are called now. It's been a long time. So the baby classes, she was there. We were there, both of us, helping out, making sure that she was part of it. And as she grew older, we moved up with her, in the classes, and making sure that she's part of it. And when she became a teenager, she was the first teenager we ever had. We had read, of course, books. We have spoken to parents. We've been to parenting sessions, of course, which are aligned to the church, so we used all those resources to say, okay, now we have a teenager, what should we do? So my wife and I, we sat down and discussed, right, teenager, all this information, what are the parental controls that we are going to have, but also give us some freedoms, right? And it was more of, look, here are your freedoms, but here are also your responsibilities. As a family, this is what we expect. Obviously, they want to experiment at that stage. They don't know much, and they think they know much, right? So all we need to do as parents, in a very nice way, when they have gone out of line, we bring them back into line. I can tell you, without any hesitation, that one of the big things that has helped us to deal with the waywardness of teenagers or teenager, is hinging more on highlighting the problem in a loving way, but also praying. If you let your child know that you're praying for them, it makes a difference. So it is important, not only to pray when they've done something wrong. Pray with them every day so that they know that prayer is a significant part of not only the parent's life, but also my life when I'm confronted with situations that are new to me. They're also, themselves teenagers for the first time. They've never been. So they don't know how to deal with this and that. There's a lot of external influence that they are dealing with. Their friends are also stepping out, trying out new things, and so on and so forth. They'll bring those things home. But as parents, then what we need to do is to, whatever they bring out, like, okay, you know what, this is what is happening. So we review it and then come to some conclusion of some sort to say, look, this is the good and the bad about it. So because we want the good, so let's focus on the good. What can you take out of this? You know, it is not entirely a good thing for parents just to say, to condemn, you know, certain behaviors without giving any explanation. Because without any explanation, that's where you start to see some level of rebellion. You know, now it's either this or that. You know, if my parents say no, you know, they don't explain things to me. They just say no. You know, but if you explain yourself, you know, be vulnerable to that extent that, you know, you also put your emotions into this and show that you need a certain direction for your child, it helps.
Wow. I guess we've got teenagers here, so you're hearing that, guys. So I don't know, guys, do you have anything you'd like to ask him? You've heard him talk a little bit. Do you have anything you'd like to ask?
Yeah, on the relationships and on parenting, since you have like 3 daughters, we previously talked about like parenting and the relationship and that. What's it like with 3 daughters? Because we were like boys, so it's it might be a bit different. What's it like with 3 girls?
I was like, oh, how many guns do you have?
Not yet. Am I thinking of getting a gun? Probably not. Why is that? I think that's a very pertinent question. Okay, you know, I think if we understand the fact that, you know, every child is different, every child is an individual, so they respond differently. We have something in our home, which is not original, of course, but from some book, you know, worked on discovering what is the love language of each one of them. Once you understand their love language, then we work towards refining that with them, you know, and then let everybody else in the family be aware that, hey, you know what, my love language, you know, like my youngest, you know, she likes to be hugged, she likes gifts, you know, that's a love language. You know, my wife, for example, she just likes quality time where we sit and talk. You know, I'm a man, you know, I like some big boys' toys sometimes. You know, she knows that. So we're very open about it, you know, that sort of thing. Now, in terms of behavior management, which is one of the things that we have to deal with, you know, like I said before, being open, having an open discussion about whatever is happening. You know, one thing that we do at home is every one of them, we ask them, how was your day like? You know, they go to school, they tell us, oh, look, I had, you know, a rough day with my friends. Okay, we ask them what happened, why do they think it happened, how can they avoid that, you know, and then you try to work out a solution together. You know, my solution as a parent might not be as appealing to them as the one who is in the situation, because now they're reporting something to me. I wasn't there, you know, and it's probably in a condensed way that might not bring out all the facts. But whatever they put on the table, we try and work something out together. It's not like mom told me this or dad told me this. No, it's like we worked out a solution together. So they own it, they feel that, you know, they're part of it, and therefore, when it comes to dealing with whatever issue they've had, it's a lot easier. Yeah.
All right.
Interesting.
Yeah, and where there is variation of opinion, you know, even if you feel strongly about something, you still present it in a loving and respectful way.
Yeah.
Right. And I guess maybe, I don't know if you guys just chime in if you ever have anything to ask, but I would like to maybe, I was just thinking like you, I wanted to ask to find out, you obviously grew up back in Zim and you came over here as an adult and you've basically raised, I don't know if you're aware of the term third culture children. And I believe these young men are all third culture children. So how has that been, I guess, for you? And I guess maybe you've been answering it, but and from that perspective of this third culture that has arisen, that you come from one culture, we come into a different culture, and the children are now a hybrid of cultures. So this third culture that's emerging, we've got someone from the Philippines. Where are you guys originally from?
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan. Where are you originally from?
I'm from Bangladesh.
Bangladesh, Zimbabwe. So we've got this array of nationalities from all across the globe, and you've got your own cultures and traditions of your parents, and then you've got the Australian culture and tradition. Then you guys are like an amalgamation of that. So from your point of view, I don't know, how have you seen that, and how has it influenced your way you've raised your kids, and how have you seen your children develop their own culture, I suppose?
Well, when I was growing up, everything that we did was regimented. The parents spoke, the child did. There was no question about that.
Simple.
It was just like that. And it wasn't until someone was much older, probably left home, that they would kind of sit down and talk with their parents. At least that's my experience. Did I like that kind of parenting? I found it a bit difficult because I didn't allow both myself and my parent to grow up together, to have that understanding, of where each one of us stood. When I came back from playing with my friends, Mom would just say, "No, tomorrow, because you came back today late, I'm not going back tomorrow," and that was it. I won't go back tomorrow. But today, with my children, our children rather, we actually talk about things. You want to go to such and such house. Do their parents know? Have their parents? How come their parents haven't contacted me? If they haven't, if they have, I'll tell them. Oh yeah, they told me that you're coming there. Right. If they're going out with their friends, like they're going to Parramatta, Penrith, who are you going with? What time do I need to drop you off? What time do I pick you up? So I need to know who else is going, and they should be reachable on their phone at any given time. Whenever I want to call, they should be able to answer their phone. And also, whenever they call me, I should be able to answer the phone as well. So everyone has got a responsibility here. Right. So, and if there's anything that has happened, has changed, and so on, we need to inform each other that, look, Dad, it took longer to get our meal at the place that we were sort of running 10 minutes late. Then I know that, okay, my pickup time is kind of changed. All right. So that's one thing. But also, I was brought up under the impression that, Dad sat, everything was brought to him, he ate, he left, and then someone had to clean up. But what we have done at our house is that, everyone has got a responsibility. Even when our girls were even much younger, what we did was we showed them that, hey, you know what, it's your turn today, or when you're finished eating, get your plate to the kitchen. And when there's food there, scrape it off and put it here. So, what we did with almost all of them, we put a chair, when I was like doing the dishes that day, on the sink, put a chair next to them, I would wash up, they would rinse, and then I'd help them put the dishes on the dryer. Right? So that sort of thing. So there's always been that involvement, in everything, be it laundry, be it cleaning the house, be it whatever. Everyone has a part to play. What does that mean to us as a family? So if everyone pitches in, we have got more time to sit around, either watch whatever I want to watch, talk about whatever I want to talk about. We have more time. But if it is only one person doing it, it means that person is going to take X amount of time, and everybody else is busy with their own thing. We miss out on time together, and we don't want that. So what we have therefore done, is change things around a little bit so that it suits our own situation, our own circumstances, and so on and so forth. So, like with my wife, for example, whoever gets home first starts cooking dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just make sure you get home late.
No, because I know that she works. She's finishing at 3. I'm finishing at 4. I have to pick up the girls, and then she's at home first. Or she's finishing at 5. I finished at 4. I've picked up the girls. I'm at home. Sometimes what she does, she's very wonderful in that regard. She is starting in the afternoon. She starts off dinner for us. But when we get home, dinner is ready. We have dinner, wash up, clean the kitchen, and all is done. So for me, it's more about involvement, being together, in everything that we do.
Okay.
Therefore, it creates more time for us as a family.
All right. No, thank you. So I guess, guys, you can hear this, and I think it's really important that we, as young men, you're hearing this, like the wisdom from someone who's been married for so long. And I think what's important is still maybe continuing down this path, the importance of marriage, and as young men, because these are young men, they're 17, 18-year-olds, they're getting into their early 20s very soon, they're going to be finishing school the end of this year. And I guess what I'd maybe want to maybe your perspective and your advice to them on the importance of just looking ahead, because I personally think it's important that at the stage they are at, they should be looking ahead, thinking, okay, what am I going to be doing? Am I going to be getting a trade? Am I going to be getting a degree, a diploma, whatever it may be? And after that, do I intend on starting a family, having a family? What should I be looking at? I think that these are the challenges that as young men that they face, that I don't know, this young generation, maybe I could be wrong, maybe don't look that far ahead. They're just focused on what's going on right now, and they're happy to be where they are. But I think maybe you could just speak into that importance of thinking 5-10 years ahead, because they are probably the most important years that will set up the rest of their lives. So maybe you could speak to that.
One of the things that we do at home, constantly, we ask our girls, what do you want to be when you grow up? And what I have seen is, what they were saying, 5 years ago is different from what they're saying now. Why do we do that? Because we want them to keep looking ahead. So what they are doing now, we want them to realize that what they are doing now has got a bearing on what they will be tomorrow. And they can actually start shaping their future today by the things that they are doing. It's not only planning, what you want to be. It's also other behaviors, the lifestyle that you choose now, the friends that you choose now, the dressing that you choose now, the things that you choose to watch. They all coalesce together and form you as a person, and therefore inform the plans that you make, if ever you're going to make any plans. But you're right. There seems to be, a stagnation as far as looking at the future is concerned. You ask someone in year, for example, in year 12, what do you want to do when you finish school? I'm not sure. Okay. But have you ever thought about it? I'm not sure. Okay. So, what subjects are you doing? They tell you whatever subject they are doing. Okay. So with these subjects, what do you want to do then? I'm not sure. The reason for that, this is just me, is because somewhere along the lines, they haven't been given the platform by whoever, be it parents, be it friends, or whatever. But normally at home, because the home is the child's first school. Right. So, and they don't know that they need to think ahead. So us parents need to teach our children that, what, yes, you're here today, but there's also tomorrow that you need to plan and think about. So with the encouragement of parents and the constant review of what do you want to be when you grow up, it does help. Because like now, you know, our middle girl, you know, she has now has a mindset that she wants to be a lawyer. All right. So she, in terms of the subjects selection at school, we talk about, okay, you know what, a lawyer should be able to speak good English. Right? As a lawyer, you need to be able to read a lot, you know, and remembering facts and dates. So history becomes a good test ground for that. You know, and legal studies, of course, you know, and you've got you know, commerce and all that. You have to understand some of these things. So we say to our girls, look, you know, to her, you know, this is what you need to familiarize yourself with. This is what you need to study. This is subject selection that you need to have. And when you have that, you'll be fine, because at least you have got something. However, when we look at that, we also say, you know what, that's the priority number one. What about plan B, plan C? You know, things in life don't always work out according to plan. So you should have a fallback position. You should not, you know, be in such a situation where things don't work out and then you are stuck. You don't know what to do. You should be able to switch from plan A to plan B, you know, plan C, and so on. So, in short, you know, the parents at home help their children to make their dream. And the way they do it is by constantly asking them and working with them, you know, whatever they've identified, encourage them in that path, you know, and offer them alternatives as well, because sometimes the kids don't think about other things. You know, if you want to be a lawyer, would it work out if you became like an accountant, or if you became this, or if you became that, you know, and so on and so forth, because now we need to widen their horizons, you know, their thinking horizons, so that they can plan knowing that, hey, you know what, if I have all this, I can actually choose what I really want, you know, and refine it with time.
All right. Excellent. I don't know if you guys have anything you want to chime in. Like I said, guys, this is an opportunity to ask someone who's seen it all and has experienced so many things. So if you want to ask, just let me know. Do you want to ask anything at the moment? No. Okay, maybe what I would... okay, go on, Rodney.
Yeah, I just had a question on it's just advice, because seeing you have 3 daughters, I was just thinking while you were speaking, like, one is almost like entering teenage years, one is kind of in the middle, and one is like almost like leaving the teenage years. So what's the left? Okay. So what would be the advice for one entering, one during the years, and one about to leave, as like us, we're...
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, our daughters are 24. The middle one is almost, you know, 16 this year, and the youngest just turned 12. Right. Now, like I said, you know, they're all different, so we treat them differently in terms of their level of maturity. So we need to recognize that. So when we're talking to our youngest, you know, we understand that she is young. She's not as mature as the almost 16-year-old, and the 16-year-old is not as mature as almost the 24-year-old. So we take cognizance of the fact that they are at different levels of maturity. So we are deliberate in what we do and say to them, and the level of discussion that we have, and the level of instruction, you know, is also different. So there is that sensitivity to their differences in age and what they're capable of doing. But having said that, one of the big things that we've seen is, you know, because there is someone ahead of them, like the middle one and our youngest, you know, they look up to the younger one looks up to the middle one looks up to the eldest, you know, that sort of thing. So certain things, certain discussions You know, they can actually have them amongst themselves. You know, which is a good thing in a way, because the eldest knows what mom and dad would want to shape our family to be like. So she might be able to communicate it better, or to understand them better, you know, and be able to represent us as well. So she is part of the the senior members of the family, if you like, you know, because of her age. She's an adult. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I mean, like in your case, you know, you've got a little brother, you know, there's no expectation that the little brother was probably almost 16 this year or 15, thereabouts, you know, would have the same reasoning capacity like yourself. You're probably what, 18, 19, thereabouts, you know, that sort of thing. There is that difference. So that has to be taken into consideration, you know, in everything that you do. Yes, she's almost a teenager, my youngest, you know, give her another 9 months, you know, she'll be a teen, all right? And then, like I said, you know, my little one is almost 16, you know, she's a veteran, if you like, you know, as a teenager, and then the 24-year-old. They're all different, so we address them in a different way, but at the same time, you know, in all this, what is common is our values as a family. You know, that's the thing that we need to preserve.
Yeah.
That's the thing that they need to understand. Yeah.
Thanks. And maybe as we're wrapping up, maybe just one thing I wanted maybe you to touch on, because I think it wasn't focused on a bit. You did talk about the focus needing to think ahead in terms of their life. Now maybe just, I would, at least maybe from my perspective, I would imagine maybe in the next 10, 15 years, these young men would be looking to get married, hopefully. So maybe just Josh, you're looking like you're not. Maybe, okay, I could be wrong, but I would hope maybe you could speak to the importance of that. Like maybe he's ambivalent about it, maybe they're not thinking about it, or maybe they are, but maybe the importance of it, and as young men, when this decision should be made, if it should be made, is it important? Maybe I am wrong.
Yeah, look, I think it is a good thing. You know, one of the major things that I believe in, you know, and I'm speaking here even from my biblical beliefs. You know, the man as the head of the family, and when I say head of the family, it's head in that way, but, you know, when it comes to the cross, you know, the ground is level. So it means before God, you know, we are the same. But in terms of responsibilities, we can't call the leaders. The man is the head of the family. As the head of the family, you know, it is God's design that the man is the provider. So as a man, one thing that we need to work on is to be in a position where we can provide for our future family. So we work towards getting a qualification. It could be a trade, it could be a university degree, it could be whatever. But you need to have something, a qualification, which will help you to support, you know, a family. Now, why do we get married? I think is the big question. You know, we get married because we believe that we were created by God. When He gave Adam and Eve, you know, dominion over everything, one thing that He said, you know, was to multiply and fill the air. So it's a God-given command, which we enter into intelligently, in the sense that we seek to honor God, you know, in marriage as well. We just don't look at someone and think, oh, they are hot, and therefore, you know, I want them, you know, and then what? You know, we are looking at, we need to understand the fact that, you know, love is a principle. It is not an emotion which is here today and gone tomorrow, or here 1 minute and gone the next. So you need to build towards something which is more permanent, something which is more lasting. So how do you do that? You know, for me, I would seek to have a stronger relationship with one who created marriage. So which means a stronger relationship with God, the God of marriage, and say, here I am, I'm 18, I'm 19, one day I'll get married, I would want to make you happy, God. So help me now to work towards that goal. I want to fulfill that which God has said. And God has made it, has created us in such a way that, it is possible that if we trust Him, if we make Him our mainstay, He'll guide us through that process, and we'll get married and be happy and be fruitful and live the life or have the family that God intended for each and every one of us. But having said that, you need to, as a person, as a man, like I said, having the means to be able to support a family. But a strong conviction as well, of being the man that God wants you to be. It's very important to be the man that God wants you to be. So there are lots of people around us who have made it in life, but we also need to factor in the fact that, making it in life is much better with God in the picture than without God. So the point that I'm trying to make, is for anyone to have a successful marriage, it is not enough to have an education. It is not enough to be good looking. It is not enough to find someone who is good looking. What is enough is for you to seek, to follow the creator of marriage, what he says, and ask for the power to be able to do it. Because loving is not an easy thing, true. If you love someone in a true way. You are growing up now here, or in your mother's house, in your parents' home. The other person is growing up elsewhere, away from you. You are going to meet at some point and come together. You are blessed if you look at the positives of that person, and together, seek to make your union when you get married, a much enjoyable thing, because you are forbearing, because you are accommodating, because you are seeking to advance their happiness.
Okay, wow, thank you. Thank you so much. And just before we wrap it up, I'm just going to ask you just a couple of quick fire questions. Just quickly, and whatever the first answer that comes to mind, you just give us, and this will be the wrap up for our show. So the first question is, when you're not working, how do you spend your free time?
Usually with my girls, we do stuff at home, or with the dog. We have a little dog at home, or something around the house. Cleaning up, doing this, doing that. There's always a lot of things to do, but never an idle moment where I just lie down and do nothing. No.
Wow, all right. What's your favorite book?
My favorite book. I can't say I have a favorite book, but I've got books that I read. I have gone past reading other books. I like, what I call spirit of prophecy books. In the Bible, these are the books that I read most of the times. I've come to have an understanding, a better understanding, of the life of Christ by reading the book, Desire for Ages.
All right, that's a good book. If you could win an Olympic event in any sport, what would it be?
Well, I believe soccer is now in the Olympics. I love my soccer. I enjoyed, Barcelona play the Australian All-Stars the other night. I watched it. And for my birthday, my wife bought me this game Sports, where she knows that I love sport. I'm not a basketball person, but I love my soccer. And yeah, that would be my thing.
All right.
And
all
I
right.
used to play soccer too. You know, they used to call me stopper.
All right. All right. What was your favorite subject in school?
I've always had a strong leaning toward the sciences,
All right.
and yeah, you know, and it has turned out that that's also my area of expertise.
Okay. Okay. And finally, what's one thing about you that surprises people?
Oh, most people, when they see me, you know, like someone who is asked, you know, in this audience or in this panel, you know, they think that I am in the security services. That's my sort. You know, I get this question a lot, and when people start to talk to me, and I tell them, look, you know, I'm actually a scientist. They're like, oh, okay, we're sorry about that, but I don't mind. You know, I don't know, maybe they've been watching too many movies. You know, I present as such, but you know, that's just me. So I'm just surprised, you know, that I present to people their first impression, you know, that I'm in the security services of some sort.
Interesting, interesting. Wow, all right. Thank you for taking part in that quick fire round and for giving us your time and sharing with us your wisdom and joining us this afternoon for our session on the discussion. And again, thank you to everybody for watching and being a part of our show. We please, as we always say, please like, please share with your friends and family, and subscribe. And if you have any questions or comments, please share with us in the comment section. And we hope to see you again soon. And that's all for today.